All right, to all the followers out there, the victims. I've been spending some time with Tu. He's been sharing with me a lot of the stories. Just want to say, if you're ever in a fight or flight situation, choose to fight. You'll never be a victim.
Choose to fight. Team fight or flight. Like a rock.
That's it. Come on, brother.
Can you talk about some of the mission you have done and some of the memories that you can share with our Vietnamese viewers watching the show today?
Yeah, absolutely. So during the process of my career, I traveled to 27 countries. I've seen the atrocities of the world. I've seen the evils of this world, and during times of peace, during times of war, and conflict is where we're at right now. Being exposed to some of the most hostile areas in the world, we had to rely a lot on our training to survive. It wasn't just cut and dry as this is war and you're going to go in with your uniform. There was a lot of times that I worked outside the norm of just on the battlefield, and putting me into very hostile areas. So I think some of the missions that stood out definitely was more of the compassion missions over the combat missions. It was Laos. So during the war, the Americans, they dropped so many bombs, so many landmines throughout Asia, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, and one of my first missions was to go in and help this village where the kids were stepping on these landmines. So, we're seeing imagery of legs, amputees, right? And I felt compelled to help, right? So I asked, can I go in and do this? Can I help? And they're like, okay, you kind of proved yourself, so we're going to put you in, and let's see how you do, right? So you're going to link up with a translator. So we landed out in this remote area out in Laos, and I got off the helicopter, linked up with my Terp, and what happened was I was talking to the Terp, and this little girl came running up, and I was like, oh my God! So I pulled out candy and I gave it to her, right? Because that's what I thought that's what they wanted. And she shook her head and she said something, and then I asked the Terp, I don't understand, and the Terp said something to her, and then she said something back, and the Terp said she wants a pencil or a pen, some kind of writing instrument. So I had, a pen, so I gave it to her, and she kissed me on the cheek, ran off. And the Terp was really distant, as in he couldn't believe what happened. I didn't think anything of it. But during lunch, he said, Tu, you know what you've done. I said, what did I do? He said that you gave the girl an education. Because they don't have pens and paper, they don't have the necessities that we have in the United States. And so the mining mission didn't turn out. I drafted an email in the jungles, and I shot it back to Japan requesting for school supplies, wood, lumber, so we can rebuild their schools, reroute their water supplies, and give the kids an education. And that to me really stands out over the direct action type of missions in Iraq and stuff, right? And that's and it stayed with me. And I felt like, my life, it started off in Asia, like the war path. Started off in Asia, before then it was South America, but after the war, during the war, it was Asia, and then I went into the Middle East, a little bit of Europe, and then eventually I finished my final missions in the continent of Africa, which one of the missions we did was a counter-poaching campaign. So there were a certain group of people that would come in to this country, kill wildlife like the elephants, and they would take the earnings and basically reinforce their terrorist camps and everything else. So they sent us in to help.
To help wildlife.
Yeah, to help the wildlife and to combat the rebels that was going in the area. And Africa was probably one of the most complex environments I worked in.
More than the Middle East?
More than the Middle East. Yeah.
Wow, I did not know that.
Just because we don't have the support mechanisms that we had during the war. We didn't have the aerial platforms that could see into certain areas, the imagery, the support mechanisms. We just didn't have that
Wow.
over in Africa. So basically, when you're working, you're kind of out there, you know,
You're
by
on your
yourself.
own, right?
Yeah.
You're on your own.
So my final mission was into South Africa. I was protecting our former president, Obama, and when Mandela became ill and died, so we came in there to help the Secret Service and protect our president, and that was kind of, you know, towards the tail end of my career, and I knew, like, you know, I'd done everything I could to help the world in every continent, and it was time that I find my peace.
Find your peace and do this show with Cung Lee.
Yeah.
So the first 2 episodes you guys shot, can you talk about a little bit about the theme of these 2 episodes, Cung Lee?
I don't want to give away too
much. I understand.
But I believe the first episode deals with a victim who is what you would call like a sheep, basically a woman who goes through her life and has the same routine day in, day out, and she's not aware of how dangerous the world is. And she became a victim, and we came onto the show and to explain to her that these are the different tools that you can use to avoid ever being in that position again. And it's not, if you're confronted again and you're using lethal force, whether it's a gun or a knife, then you've done everything else wrong. That's what Tu was teaching her. And that's like the yin of the show. And in the yang of the show, it's like another victim, another female who's at the top of her game in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, who is a world champion, has a black belt, knows how to shoot a gun, but became a victim to an alpha predator who looks for these kind of victims to, it's like now a trophy. He hunts them. And this is the world that we live in. So those are the 2 shows, and the 3rd show, we don't want to review anything because we're still deciding on what's best, which one's going to come first, kids next, or another victim, or do we go into how to become a hard target in public, or how to be a hard target at home, what are drills that you can do with your kids, your family, husband and wife, and that's all going to come together in the next couple of shows. And I think it's very important that people understand that if you're not aware of your surroundings, there's a lot of predators are out there. And just like in Africa, Tu said, anything can kill you. Then you have to worry about the enemy. Here, of course, anything can kill you. You step out, you can get hit by a car. But at the same time, all these people, they all look the same. But who are the predators? That's what you gotta, you'll learn how to flush them out by watching this show.
Wow, I can't wait to watch.
I think the biggest thing about this show is that, it's called fight or flight, right? And we wanted to give people the tools on how to survive, how to fight. But fighting transcends further than just the physical form, right? It goes into the mindset that's really hard to teach. The preparation mindset is in just a basic mindset. Do you lock your door when you go in your home, right? Do you really look around the parking lot, or are you on your cell phone walking to your vehicle at night, right? Those are mindsets that I'm trying to teach people, that because I have been in some of the most hostile areas in the world, I'm able to take that mindset and to give back to victims, to our followers, the viewers, give them that trade, that trade craft, that the mindset behind what kept us alive overseas.
Wow. Thank you, Tu. Thank you, Lê Cung. Dạ vâng, thưa quý vị, rất tiếc là chúng ta hết giờ rồi. Any final words you want to share with your fans watching this interview today, Cung and Tu?
First of all, I want to thank you for having us on your show.
Thank you.
Cảm ơn quý vị đã có giờ để coi cái show này với Lê Cung, với Tu, với Victoria.
Come on, I want to say, thank you for Victoria. Thank you for bringing Cung and I on this show. And please come and view Fight or Flight, and it's going to be great.
Thank you, gentlemen. Dạ vâng, thưa quý vị, rất là buồn là chúng ta đã hết giờ rồi. Đó là cuộc nói chuyện đặc biệt của Tố Uyen với võ sĩ kim tài tử Lê Cung. Và người kế bên Tố Uyen đó là anh Lâm Tuấn Tú, thưa quý vị. Về hưu rồi nhưng mà anh đã từng phục vụ cho quân đội Hoa Kỳ trong lực lượng đặc biệt của quân đội Hoa Kỳ. Đến đây chúng tôi xin trân trọng kính chào tạm biệt tất cả quý vị khán giả và xin kính chúc tất cả quý vị có một ngày cũng như là một tuần thật là hạnh phúc và bình an.